Welcome back to Need for Speed Heat gameplay, guys. Now, I promised you guys a couple of days ago that I was heading out to Gamescom, and that is exactly where I am today. Apologies for the not-so-great setup. I'm recording from my hotel room here in Germany, where I'm able to make this video. Huge shout-out to EA for hooking me up and allowing me to play this version of the game. To record all of this footage for you, without them, it wouldn't have been possible. So huge shout-out to them for inviting me out to Gamescom and all that fancy goodness. Anyways, we're going to be doing a bunch of things in today's video. We're obviously customizing this Nissan GTR, which is awesome, checking out a bunch of the Need for Speed Heat customization. There's some new stuff, we will get into that. Here are all of the wheel rims, by the way, feel free to pause at any point. We will also be jumping in, checking out the handling in this game. We've got a day race and a night race in this. We've also got a little bit of a cop chase and some Need for Speed Heat Freeroam, which is super cool. We will also jump in to some character customization, which is super cool, and something that I will be honest, I didn't really expect in this game, but we will jump into it regardless. Anyways, and as I was saying, I'm at Gamescom, which means this game, or this version of the game, is actually an early release. Obviously, the game comes out November 8th. If you've seen my previous videos, or if you haven't seen them, I will link to them down below, and it will get you caught up on everything Need for Speed related. However, like I was saying, this is a very, very early version of the game where you might notice a couple of glitches. For example, you'll notice when we get to the side skirts, one of my side skirts is kind of like floating in the air. Obviously just a glitch, it'll get fixed when the game officially comes out. Anyways, let's talk about the customization in this game because there's some really, really cool stuff that I don't think some people know about. So, in this particular version of the game, there's no actual performance customization. The only thing that we can mess around with is the visual customization. We can play with our car's exhaust note and some other things like that in our wrap and usual stuff like that. We'll get into that as we go through. But anyways, let's talk about the part of the car that I'm working on right now. All of the body kits, all of the visual customization that you can expect from previous Need for Speed games is back for Need for Speed Heat. It's super, super cool. I didn't really have any particular idea for what I wanted to do to this particular car. I just knew that I wanted like a Need for Speed Heat wide body car just to check out what they would look like. And so I went with an R35 here. We swapped on, I believe it's a Rocket Bunny kit. And then we swap on some Liberty Walk stuff as well, and we just mess around with the whole thing. I think it's a Ben Sopra rear wing, and we just sort of have some fun with the car. We're playing on PS4, by the way, for this. It's actually recorded in 4K, then downscaled, but like I was saying, not a final version of the game, so expect things to change in the future. Anyways, all your usual stuff from previous Need for Speed games is back, which is awesome. Super, super excited to see all that stuff. However, when we get into the handling stuff, you will notice that there are some funky things that we can't actually change. So, like I said, there's no performance customization in this version of the game. However, we were able to mess with all of the visual stuff, which is super cool. Paint our car. You'll notice as well there's some new materials in there. You can go full-on color shift, which is crazy. And then we will get into some really cool stuff like the exhaust note. However, before that, let's jump in character customization. I just wanted to skip through some of the options here really, really quickly. There are so many different things for male and female characters. I just skipped all the way through it super quickly, and it doesn't really give it a time to load. But you can get an idea of what type of stuff is in the game. Super cool to be able to make your character the way you want. There's a bunch of different avatars too. There's maybe like 10 or 12 avatars that you can actually go in and choose from, which is super cool, and you can have some fun with that. Here's all the different avatars. They're really, really cool. You can go in and choose whichever one that you want. Anyways, let's let the car speak for itself and do some exhaust customization. So how cool is that? Your Need for Speed Heat exhaust customization. It's super, super cool. Something I really didn't expect to see in this game, which is so awesome. I cannot wait to jump into the full thing, mess around with a bunch of different cars, because if you didn't know, one of the things you can do in Need for Speed Heat customization is actually engine swap your car, which is super cool. We don't actually have it in this version of the game, but when we get our hands on the full version, we will make sure to jump into that because that is like a first and something I'm super excited to check out. We will get into that though when we get our hands on the full game or another demo or something. Stay tuned. We'll see. Anyways, you'll notice with the exhaust stuff, if you go back to it, there's certain things that do different sounds. It's very, very subtle. However, if you know what you're looking for, you can spot some very big differences. For example, if your resonator, you make it super aggressive, your car will actually spit more flames. If you try to make it stock, it almost won't spit any flames. It's almost like taking the catalytic converter out of your car in real life. Basically allows the exhaust to flow all the way through, and sometime it'll pop some flames out the back of your car. And in Need for Speed, it pops a lot of flames out the back of your car. Anyways, let's talk about this Need for Speed Heat handling and how it's different in this game as compared to the other games. So, I've obviously not jumped in and played it very, very much. This was actually my first ever time playing this game. So obviously it's similar to previous Need for Speed games, however, this is actually my first ever time. I didn't get any practice before this. I jumped straight in, I did a first lap, and then I wanted to do some experimenting to see sort of how the car is handled in different scenarios. You'll see me trying to drift it at certain points, like clutch kicking the car by pressing the gas twice in the game, ripping the handbrake into corners like I was saying, and just sort of messing around with it to see what you can and can't get away with, and how it's different to previous games. So you'll notice my driving's kind of like sporadic or interesting, you can say. However, I'm just messing with things just to see sort of how it does. When we get into the night races, I sort of got my eye in a little bit more, and then we get to the Freeroam. You'll see it gets significantly better, but I'm still messing around with it the whole time. Anyway, so how does Need for Speed Heat feel to play? Well, if you've played in previous Need for Speed games before, I would say previous games like Need for Speed Payback or Need for Speed 2015, it'll feel familiar. It's still using the same engine and same like core at the end of the day. However, it is improved and it is a little bit different as well. For example, if you're coming into corners, you'll notice your car will still bite into corners and it will still understeer very, very hard. However, changed for this game is if you try to drift your car, instead of your car speeding up, you'll actually start to slow down. So no longer is drifting faster. Thank God, I am so happy for that. That is super awesome to hear. However, especially for a car like the GTR where it's already heavy, already all-wheel drive, it does get a lot of understeer going into the corners, which a lot of people weren't really a fan of in the previous games, but it is still there, and I mean, it's kind of a thing in real life, but we'll play tomorrow with a rear-wheel drive car. I've already gone in and played with it. I'm sort of figuring out how and why the game is doing it. I noticed one thing: if you jam on the brakes and turn a little bit, your car wheels will actually lock up, so you won't be able to turn all the way. I don't know if it's happening with this GTR. You'll see me throughout this clip again, just messing around with stuff to see what happens when you do certain things, and I was just seeing what happened, really. So yeah, it feels similar to previous games. There's definitely some improvements. Your car is definitely more nimble, and I feel like I'm more in control of the car, which is always a good thing. However, I don't really know if it's enough, honestly, in the right direction. When you guys get your hands on the game, you'll have to see, but right now, kind of on the fence still. I still need to play a lot more. I've only been able to get maybe half an hour, 45 minutes of actual gameplay time, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see with different types of cars. Both of the cars that I actually used were race cars, so we'll have to see as well. You can't actually use any drift cars just yet, so we'll have to see how they handle and stuff, but that's honestly how it feels. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I'll do my best to answer as many of them as I can. Anyways, you're probably wondering what's going on the screen. I don't want to talk about all the handling stuff as we're driving around. We did the day race. That's how you get your money. At night, it's all about your reps. You'll notice at the top of the screen, you'll see a big 3. That is the heat level that's currently going on right now. So you'll see at the bottom of the screen every now and again, it'll say how many cops are coming after us. So it'll be like they're looking for you, or they're coming, or reinforcements are coming, or sort of things like that, or you're escaping eventually, and so on and so forth like that. Super, super cool. Tomorrow's video, we actually get a 5-star heat level, and we have rhinos coming at us. It's super cool. So if you want to see a very intense cop chase, make sure you look out for that tomorrow. Should be super, super cool. Anyway, so all of this is going on in the middle of a race, which is awesome. We've got these cops coming after us. We're in the middle of this race, and it's just super intense when you've got cops coming flying at you left and right, and at the same time, you've got to try to overtake as many people as possible. Super, super cool. You'll see at the end, we'll get some rep for doing this, which is actually what you get at night. I don't believe you get money, at least for doing this particular mission. I don't know about other ones, but we'll have to see. Anyways, boys, that is where I'm going to leave you for today. We'll let the gameplay play out and sort of do its thing. We'll jump into some free roam. One of the things you'll notice is there are some off-roading areas that you can go in, which probably isn't the best place for a GTR, but I don't know my way around the map, so I was just looking in the bottom left-hand corner of the mini-map, trying to find cool driving roads, and a lot of them happen to be dirt. However, there are a bunch of really, really good drift circuits, or drift tracks, or drift roads, I would say, coming down the mountain. You'll also notice around the map that there's some really big hills that you can climb all the way up. There's no barriers on the side, so say you're rocking like a Ford Raptor, for example, or a Range Rover, just drive all the way up the hill. Nothing's gonna get in your way. Super, super cool. I want to play around with the map a lot more because there's so much to see. I still don't know my way around. I have no idea where I'm going most of the time. I sort of just pick a direction and I just happen to go that way. Anyways, if you have anything, like I was saying, if you want to see, please let me know in the comments down below. I will do my best to make it happen. And until tomorrow, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye!
On social media, I can send you to instead.
Copy. I'll be ready if they turn up again.
Got it. Copy.
Sloppy 50 on yourself. Driver's got away.